Hey everybody, Lisa here. I am back because I told you I was going to talk all about sodium and the adrenal system. So what does adrenal function have to do with sodium? Let's talk about the adrenals first. So the adrenals are our fight or flight response. They help us to run from the bear that's chasing us. So when the bear starts chasing us, what happens? Well, the two little glands, which are the adrenal glands that sit on top of the kidneys, will release aldosterone and cortisol. So the important part of that is the aldosterone will increase our energy, our heart rate, and our blood pressure so that we have enough energy to run from the bear. And the cortisol, which is our main stress hormone, will increase the glucose in our bloodstream and enhance our brain's ability to utilize it. So while we're running, we can still think and make those last minute snap decisions. Now, what happens if we're in a chronic fight or flight response, which we're seeing more and more these days? And that just means that our adrenals, they're going to become weakened. And so it's almost like driving a car with the pedal down as far as it'll go. Eventually, the car's going to run out of gas. So you can go fast for a short period of time, but eventually the gas is going to run out and your car's going to stop. Same thing with your body. So need to be very careful here. So what does sodium have to do with the picture? Well, when we do hair tissue mineral analysis, or HTMA, basically the sodium level is dictated by the strength of the adrenal system, so they're directly related. So when we see someone who has a very elevated level of sodium, then we're looking at inflammation, we're looking at potential excessive adrenal function, and so that makes a huge difference if this person's dealing with an alarm stage of stress, of how we deal with their mineral balance versus someone who may have a low sodium level. And so that low sodium level means they may be coming from that intense stress response and now they're burning out, or their adrenals are weakening and they're just exhausted. So those two scenarios on an HTMA are going to be treated very, very differently. And so someone who has an elevated sodium on an HTMA for a long period of time not only is experiencing inflammation, but they could be experiencing symptoms like high blood pressure and others. So when we have adrenals that are potentially burned out, what are some of the symptoms? The most common is when we see people whose adrenal function is diminishing and weakening. So what happens? What are some of the symptoms with this? Well, chronic fatigue is number one. There could be a little bit of brain fog. We could see low blood pressure or low blood sugar. We could also see some chronic illness or chronic infections. That's very common as well because immunity is down. And so when we talk about sodium, sodium is part of a ratio with potassium, which is called the vitality ratio. So when sodium's low, the vitality of the individual is low and hence compromised immunity. So very important to know what those levels are. And then once we start experiencing some of those symptoms, what happens? Well, some people start self-medicating with things like caffeine or sugary foods, things that give us that instant jolt of energy and probably raise our blood sugar a little bit, make us feel better in the short term, but then all of a sudden we crash and we feel either the same or worse. So really, really important not to overstimulate if you're feeling super tired and if you've got some chronic fatigue. Because really the adrenals need to be nourished and need support rather than to be stimulated when they're already tired. So one of the main things to check, obviously, is to look at the cellular level in the body, what your sodium levels look like, and then correlate it with some symptoms that you might be experiencing. So this is where HTMA comes in. And again, HTMA is so important. I really think that mineral balance is the true key to longevity. So if you're interested in digging deeper into your health and seeing what HTMA might reveal for you, then head on over to my website. First of all, there's tons of free resources there, podcasts, articles, and vlogs, and also a free 15-minute courtesy call that I offer to see if HTMA might be right for you.